Good afternoon, YouTube and PricePlow Nation. This is Mike with PricePlow with an industry news update regarding the Enhanced Athlete lawsuit that was filed by Nutrition Distribution, LLC. In the past, we had Robert Tuller, who is the chief counsel of Nutrition Distribution, on this channel for a Skype interview, and I wanted to give an update of what has happened since then.
Welcome to PricePlow.
So where we left off was that Nutrition Distribution had filed a lawsuit against Enhanced Athlete for unfair business practices using the Lanham Act. And we wrote a blog post recently discussing how this Lanham Act can be used for companies to sue each other. And it was really busted open by Palm versus Coke, a whole other thing. So you can click that link in the description if you want to read how that's even possible. And so since then, what happened in the case was that Enhanced Athlete stated that Dr. Tony Hughes was not an employee or owner or founder of the business, and so that he didn't need to be deposed or part of this lawsuit. Nutrition Distribution obviously argued that he seemed like he was a bigger part of it than that, and so they at least wanted to depose him, and the judge agreed. And so on February 14th, the judge signed an order stating that Enhanced Athlete had 60 days to produce this witness and allow Robert Tuller and associates to depose him for Nutrition Distribution, LLC. And so that's kind of where we left off with that order on the Skype interview, and you can click the link in the description to watch that. Now, here's what's happened since then. Over the next few days or weeks, both parties started filing some papers regarding what they wanted to see in discovery. And then a few days after that, Enhanced Athlete's legal team, which I believe is Rutan & Associates, they contacted Nutrition Distribution stating that they wanted to stay the case over Fifth Amendment privilege. And stay the case basically means they wanted to pause the case for at least 4 months. Nutrition Distribution, having kind of just had a win in that they're ordered to go and depose Dr. Tony Hughes, they said, "Oh, no way!" And so they went back and forth and couldn't come to an agreement. So what these two legal teams did is they actually got together and they filed a joint motion to either stay or not stay the case. And this was co-written by both of them, where Nutrition Distribution says, "No, we should not stay the case." And Rutan Associates for Enhanced Athlete says, yes, we need to stay the case. And so this is a 30-page document. I'll make a link to it below. But essentially, the cat that came out of the bag here is that Enhanced Athlete's legal team stated that because there is an ongoing federal criminal investigation for Scott Cavell and possibly Enhanced Athlete, that we should not allow this civil case right here with Nutrition Distribution to go ahead, because the things that may be unleashed during discovery during the civil case may damage Scott Cavell and Enhanced Athlete's ability to plead the Fifth on their own criminal investigation. And so they cite a lot of different cases where there are, this is called parallel, where there's parallel cases of civil and federal criminal cases ongoing. And so you do have, a Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself. And the concern is that if Dr. Tony Hughes were to be deposed and he has to answer questions truthfully and honestly, because a deposition is under the laws of perjury, then that could actually damage Enhanced Athlete's ability to plead the Fifth in their own criminal investigation. And so they filed that. Nutrition Distribution disagreed. It's a 30-page document. And essentially, in the past week or so, the judge came back and he denied the motion to stay the case, meaning that this case is going to continue. And he basically gave two reasons for this. First off, he stated that it hasn't been shown effectively that Enhanced Athlete's criminal investigation has to do with the SARMs and with all the stuff in this case. It could just be that Scott Cavell's investigation was regarding his probation violation, where he's basically caught with like an $80,000 car that he hadn't reported and a couple other things like marijuana or whatever. And so he was put back in jail because he violated probation. The judge said, it may just have nothing to do with this SARM's unfair competition case. And then secondly, the judge stated that also Dr. Tony Hughes, if he is, when he is deposed, he could just plead the Fifth on a question-by-question basis. This isn't really a reason to stay the case. And the judge even goes so far to kind of insinuate that it feels like these are stalling tactics, and kind of, so this is my opinion here, you start to read between the lines a little bit on some of these judges' cases, and it's on some of these judges' orders, and it seems like he's getting a little bit annoyed. So Dr. Tony Hughes had to be produced by April 15th of 2018. The judge is backing that up to about May 1st now, but he's stating that Dr. Tony Hughes still must be deposed. He's given a little bit of an extension there. And at the same time, they are not going to stay the case. This case goes on because we really don't know what the federal criminal investigation is all about. There's a chance that it's over SARMs and DMP and everything, but there's a chance it's just the probation thing. Further, and so that's kind of where the legal documents leave off. Now, as everyone knows, Tony Hughes is not in America, and honestly, it doesn't seem like he's going to come back, but maybe he could leave a comment if he is coming back to America. Robert Toller and Associates, they are in Los Angeles, and so they have actually stated that when Tony was in Thailand, they'd be willing to fly to Hong Kong to depose him. The next thing you knew, he was in Mexico, and so they stated, hey, Mexico is only a 3-hour flight. And they're going back and forth with these emails. And I'll show a few of them up here on the screen here. But they're going back and forth with the Enhanced Athlete legal team, trying to get a place where they can depose Tony Hughes. And I think a lot of the information that they're getting is off of his Snapchat. And so he was in Mexico, which is only a 3-hour flight from Los Angeles. They can go and do a deposition there, they've stated. It's also possible that they may be able to do a Skype-based deposition. But it seems like Nutrition Distribution's legal team, Toller Associates, wants to do this in person. So then the next thing is that it's been proposed that Dr. Tony's going to be in Brazil and, for ongoing business. He obviously travels around the world a whole lot, and that he'd be willing to do the deposition around April 25th or so in Brazil. At this point, Toller Associates seems to be getting a little bit annoyed in the emails because that's a very long flight and they're going to want to be reimbursed for not only a hotel and business class flight and their time, but they also want to be reimbursed for security because Brazil isn't the safest of places, and especially since their lives have been threatened by some of Enhanced Athletes fans. So they do want to have security as well. And so at the end of the day, where we stand now is that Dr. Tony Hughes does need to be deposed by May 1st. And it's kind of back and forth on where he is. Toller and Associates are wondering, why don't you just come back to America? But this leads us to wonder, is there perhaps a standing warrant for his arrest or something if he were to come back to America? It doesn't seem like he's coming back to America. So now where is this deposition going to take place and when? But it needs to be done by May 1st. Otherwise, the judge has ordered that he may file sanctions against Enhanced Athlete and possibly Enhanced Athlete's legal teams if they don't if they don't produce their witness in time. And so that's where we stand right now. Dr. Tony does need to be deposed, and we are waiting to see what he says. Scott Cavell and Enhanced Athlete are both under federal criminal investigation, and these two things are going to continue in parallel. And so there's a lot going on here, but at the end of the day, Dr. Tony needs to show up for a video camera, and hopefully we can find out what happens soon. And if he has to plead the fifth on a question-by-question basis, that's what the judge says that he's able to do. But at this point, the judge does seem to be getting a little bit annoyed with things. So we'll keep you up to date. As you can see, I now have my green screen, and so please subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below if you comments on either side of the case. And if you want me to continue to post these updates, I'd be happy to do so. I got the studio set up and ready to go. This is Mike with PricePlow. I appreciate your subscription. Thanks, and we'll see you later.
Welcome to PricePlow.